I find myself in one of the toughest situations I've been in quite some time. See, my mother, she passed away not too long ago. She left behind quite a bit, but the number one thing that I loved the most was her jewelry collection. I mean, I've been a fan of jewelry myself, and I would never sell it even if I needed the money. I would keep it, no matter what. Well, I learned that my stepmother sold the jewelry while I was away, just to fund her daughter's wedding. Oh, guys, you want to know what I did?
Hey, I need to get this off my chest because I'm livid, heartbroken, and feeling utterly betrayed. I'm 27 years old, and I don't know how to process what I just discovered about my stepmom and stepsister. I've been holding this in for weeks, but I just found out the truth. I can't keep it into myself any longer. So, some backstory. My mother, Sophia, passed away a few years ago. She was everything to me. She was my rock, my role model, and to be honest, my best friend. I was devastated when she passed, and still can't fully wrap my head around it. We were incredibly close, and her death left a hole in my heart that's hard to explain. Well, before she passed, my mother had a small collection of antique jewelry that had been passed down through the generations. It wasn't worth a fortune, but it was priceless to me. It was the last tangible connection I had to her. I didn't want to keep it at my apartment, and when I moved out, I asked my stepmom, Karen, to hold on to it for me. I trusted her, and I thought she would respect how important those pieces were to me. Here's where things start to go south. A few months ago, I went back to my dad's house to retrieve the jewelry. I thought it was the perfect time to get it back since I was looking to move forward in my life and create some space to grieve. But when I asked Karen where the jewelry was, she looked at me with a straight face and said it was missing. She claimed I must have lost it or forgotten it at some point. I was upset, but I let it go for the time being, thinking maybe I misplaced it or maybe Karen had moved it without telling me. I trusted her, after all, and I just figured it was just some sort of mix-up. But then a few weeks ago, I overheard something that absolutely shattered everything. I was at a friend's party and Jessica, my stepsister, was there with her fiancé's family. They were all talking about the wedding, something that, by the way, I wasn't invited to. That alone felt like a slap in the face, but it got worse when I overheard them gushing about how Jessica would be wearing a, quote, family heirloom necklace for the wedding. Now, I knew for a fact that Karen did not have any heirloom jewelry. And, well, none. Jessica had never mentioned wearing anything passed down from my mom, so my blood went cold. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. There was only one family heirloom that I knew of, and it was my mom's. Jessica was going to wear my mother's jewelry, one of the very pieces Karen had claimed were missing. My gut twisted. That's when I started to piece it all together. Karen had sold the jewelry except for the one necklace she probably kept specifically to impress Jessica's future in-laws. I'm beyond furious just writing this out. Karen had no right to do this. She knew how much that jewelry meant to me, and she still chose to sell it behind my back? I feel so stupid for ever trusting her in the first place. Honestly, looking back now, I should have known better. I gave her the benefit of the doubt, hoping that she would at least show some decency. But she's proven to be exactly what I should have expected all along. She's selfish, manipulative, and just downright cold when it comes to anything that does not benefit her or Jessica. I guess I really wanted to believe she could be a decent person. But that was obviously a huge mistake. I've spent so much time trying to get along with her, trying to make things work, but I've just been wasting my energy. What really stings is how Jessica has always been the golden child. Growing up, it was always about her. She was the one who got all the attention, the one who could do no wrong. Meanwhile, I've been treated like I'm not even a part of the family most of the time. My dad, an absentee parent for most of the part, never stepped in to support me when I was younger. And he hasn't done anything now either. He's always been checked out, and Karen just knows she can get away with anything. As long as Jessica is happy, Karen doesn't care what happens to me. I'm just so angry and hurt right now. I can't believe I let this go on for so long. I'm still processing everything, and I haven't even confronted Karen about it yet. I'm not sure if I should. I don't even know what I would say. What do you say to someone who sold your late mother's memory for their own convenience? And to make everything worse, I wasn't even invited to Jessica's wedding. I don't even know why. Maybe because I'm not part of their perfect family dynamic. They have their little bubble, and I do not fit into it. They can't even make room for me in the picture. I don't know what to do now. I want to call them out. I want to expose Karen for what she's done. But I don't know if it'll do any good. My dad will probably just shrug it off. I don't know if I even want to stay involved with any of them after this. The whole thing just feels like a bad joke. I guess I'm venting here because I don't know what else to talk to. This betrayal has completely shattered my faith in my family, and I just don't know where to go from here. I have no idea at all. What would you do? Anyways, I'll get back to an update soon. Update number 1. Hey everyone, I'm back with a quickie. I've spent the last few days thinking things through and figuring out what I do next, and I'm still processing everything, but I wanted to share where my head's at right now. The wedding's happening in about 2 months, and the closer it gets, the angrier I feel. I still can't believe Karen did what she did to my mother's jewelry. And I'm having a hard time not thinking about how she stole something so precious to me just to fund Jessica's wedding. On top of that, I wasn't even invited to the wedding. To be honest, I still haven't fully processed how I feel about it, but right now the priority is getting my mom's jewelry back. I've been debating whether I should confront my stepmom Karen or not, and I know I could do it. I could march right into her face and demand answers about the jewelry. But after thinking about it, I know exactly how that conversation would go. She would deny everything, lie through her teeth, and probably try to make me feel guilty for misplacing it or some other excuse. It's so typical of her, and I already know I won't get any real answers from her. And I don't think I have the emotional energy to deal with more of her lies. Then there's my dad. Honestly, I don't think that he would do anything either. He's always been the absent parent, and even if I told him what happened, I doubt that he would stand up to Karen. I've spent enough years being disappointed by him to know that he's not going to suddenly care about this. I can't rely on him to help me, and at this point, I don't even want to. So I've decided to take a different approach. I'm going to start collecting evidence, and I know this will take time, but I need to be smart. I'll keep documenting everything I can find, like any financial records or anything that shows Karen's involvement in selling the jewelry, or anything related to Jessica's wedding that might tie it back to what she did. If I'm going to get that jewelry back or do anything about it, I need proof. I won't get anywhere just based on my word alone, especially with Karen's manipulative ways. This isn't going to be quick, and I'm sure it'll be frustrating as hell, but I think this is the only way forward. I can't confront Karen until I have something concrete, and I'm not going to just let her get away with this. I'm going to keep looking into things, making sure I gather as much information as possible before I take any further action. I may not post for a while since I'll be focused on gathering evidence, but I wanted to let you all know that I'm not giving up. I'll let that jewelry get back, and I'll let me expose Karen for what she's done. Thank you for the support, and I'll update you when I have something new. Hopefully I can get this resolved very, very soon. Thank you. Update number 2. Hey guys, I'm back with another update, and it's been a few days, since my last post, and a lot has happened. First off, thank you so much for all the support you've given me. It's been really helpful just knowing I'm not alone, even if it feels like I'm fighting this battle on my own in real life. So I've been busy, and I'm happy to report that I've managed to gather enough evidence to make my case. It hasn't been easy. At first, I didn't even know where to start, but I've been keeping my eyes and ears open. I found a few key pieces of info that confirm Karen's involvement with the missing jewelry. Well, as it turns out, she hasn't sold it. She pawned it. I think she's trying to just bury this issue by magically getting back the missing jewelry once she has the money to get it back. Though I doubt she would ever actually find the money for it, or ever try hard enough to pay. I don't think she even really cares about it anymore and has probably forgotten where she even pawned them. So fortunately, I managed to track down some pawn shop records and even found some shady financial transactions that line up with Karen and what she was clearly desperate for money to fund Jessica's wedding. It's not like a full confession, but it's enough to back up everything I suspect. I've been documenting everything carefully, and I'm getting closer to having a solid case. I also bought the jewelry back, and I've been keeping it in my home safe. But let me tell you, Jessica has been insufferable through all this. Honestly, I don't even know how to describe it. She's been talking about her wedding nonstop, gloating about every little detail like it's the most important event to ever happen. I can't even be around her without hearing how perfect everything is going to be. The dress, the venue, the flowers, everything. And here's the thing. She's not showing off the necklace, and I'm sure she's aware that if she did, I'd immediately recognize it for what it really is. I don't know if Karen warned her to keep quiet about it, or if she's just being careful, but I can tell she's trying not to draw attention to it. She's clearly aware of how much that necklace means to me, and honestly, I think that makes it worse. She knows what she's involved in, and yet she's still flaunting her wedding like nothing's wrong. Well, I get it, she's excited, it's her wedding day and all that, but there's something about the way she's carrying herself now that just feels smug. She knows that Karen pawned my mom's jewelry to fund her wedding, and yet she's going about it like she deserves all of it. The more I hear her talk about how perfect her day is going to be, the angrier I get. I've tried to keep my cool, but at this point I really feel like making her experience a little bit of karma. I don't want to get petty or vindictive, but I feel like she's just walking around with no idea of what she's done to me. The fact that she's so oblivious to her role in all this just makes me want to do something. Anything to let her feel the weight of her actions. I know it's wrong, but I can't help but think that they both need a reality check. Karen stole from me, and Jessica benefited from it, and both of them are acting like nothing's wrong. The wedding is still in a month, and that's honestly a bit of a relief because it gives me time to make sure I'm ready for whatever happens. I plan to have everything in place by then with all my evidence and the appropriate people involved, whether it's legal action or something else. I won't get into specifics just yet because I'm still figuring out the next steps, but I'm not going to let them get away with this, not after everything that they've done. So yeah, I'm still in this, and I'll come back around the time to the wedding to update you on what happens next. I know I can't let my anger dictate my next move, but I'm so close to finally getting justice for my mom and for me. This whole situation has been draining, but I can't just let it go. Thank you for the support again. It really means a lot to know I'm not the only one who sees this as a betrayal. I'll update you soon, hopefully with some good news. Update number 3. Hey, I know I said I'll update after the wedding, but things escalated way faster than I anticipated, and I had to share what went down. So, the wedding was yesterday, and I did something. Well, I don't regret it, but it's definitely going to be remembered. Long story short, I crashed the wedding reception. I know. It sounds extreme, but after everything that's happened, I just could not stay silent anymore. For months, I've been dealing with betrayal of my stepmom, Karen, pawning my late mother's jewelry to fund Jessica's wedding. And as if that wasn't enough, Jessica's been gloating nonstop about her perfect wedding while I sit here watching them get away with it. I had the receipts, I had the proof, and I knew this was my moment. So I showed up uninvited to the reception. I waited for the right moment when all the guests were mingling, and then I stood up and exposed everything. I told everyone exactly what Karen had done, and I revealed how Karen had been entrusted with my mom's precious jewelry, how she had pawned it to fund Jessica's wedding, and how Jessica was lying, and that she had no clue about the necklace history since she wasn't wearing some fairly heirloom. It was a stolen piece of my mother's collection, and I even had receipts from the pawn shop, and photos of my mom wearing the jewelry making it undeniable. The reactions were intense. I couldn't have asked for a better reaction if I tried. Jessica's new in-laws were outraged, and they started questioning her about the necklace, about the wedding, about everything. They were furious that she had been parading around with stolen jewelry and lying about its origins. People started leaving the receptionist in disgust, and the mood in my room shifted from celebratory to chaotic in a matter of minutes. Of course, Karen tried to defend herself and claim I was just trying to ruin Jessica's perfect day, but honestly nobody was buying it. Her story crumbled the second I showed the proof, and you could see the shame on her face as she tried to justify what she did, but she couldn't. There was no way to spin the truth. She pawned the jewelry, and Jessica was fully complicit, even if she didn't realize it at first. I didn't stick around to deal with the fallout. I knew Karen and Jessica would be furious, and I didn't want to get caught in their wrath. So I left as quickly as I could. And now I'm hiding at our friend's house, just waiting for everything to calm down. I'm not sure how this will play out, whether Karen will try to get revenge, or if Jessica's new in-laws will cut ties with her, but right now I'm feeling relieved. I'm not gonna lie, it feels so good knowing that the truth is finally out there. I don't regret exposing them. I know I ruined Jessica's dream wedding, but frankly, she and Karen had been walking around like nothing's wrong for so long. And it was time for them to face the music. They've gotten away with so much, and now it's their turn to deal with the consequence. I know there will be a fallout, and I Might have made things a lot harder for myself doing this, but honestly, I don't care. I feel like I took back some power and that's worth it. For now, I'm staying low and just letting everything play out. I'll update you when I can, but for now, I'm just going to enjoy the fact, well, that the truth finally came to light. Update number 4. Hey, it's been a week since my last post, and I wanted to update you all on what's been going on since the wedding fallout. First of all, my father did what I expected. He sided with Karen. I knew he would, and honestly, I don't even care. It's not surprising. He's always been absent and never really stood up for me when it counted, so I can't say I'm shocked. I'm just moving forward with cutting ties with him, and I don't need that kind of negativity in my life anymore. Especially after everything that's happened, he can stay with Karen and Jessica if that's where his loyalties lie. Now let's get to the good part, shall we? After I exposed everything at the wedding, I wasn't about to let Karen get away with keeping the necklace. I knew that I had to act fast, and so I did. I got in touch with her and let her know that if she did not return it immediately, I would go ahead with the lawsuit. I wasn't bluffing. I've got all the evidence I need, and I'm more than willing to go all the way with it. I also made it clear that not only would she face legal consequence, but Jessica's life would likely be destroyed, and I told her that if she did not return the necklace, not only would I sue her, but that she and Jessica could both face criminal charges for pawning stolen property. I also told her that with everything that's come out, Jessica's marriage was basically doomed, and it would not be long before her husband left her. Well, that seemed to hit a nerve because Karen finally caved. She begrudgingly returned the necklace. I'm sure it must have hurt her to admit she could not get away with it, but I got it back and it's safe now. Unfortunately, the rest of my mother's jewelry is still at the pawn shop. I'm working on saving up money to buy it all back, but for now, having at least a necklace means the world to me. As for the aftermath of the wedding, it seems like Jessica's life is falling apart just as I expected. Her in-laws are furious and have been pressuring her husband to divorce her. From what I've heard, they're still livid about the humiliation at the wedding, and the tensions between Jessica and her husband are at an all-time high. Whether he goes through with the divorce or not, I don't care. It's their problem now, and Karen and Jessica have been the center of humiliation for the past few days. But honestly, I'm not invested in their misery anymore. They can wallow in it as much as they want, but for me, the only thing that matters now is for me to live my life the way my mom would have been proud of. I'm moving forward with my life. I've started cutting ties with the toxic people in my life, and I'm focusing on healing and surrounding myself with people who actually care. Thankfully now, I've gotten all of my mother's jewelry. So guys, thank you to everyone who supported me throughout this ordeal. Your encouragement kept me going, and I'm truly grateful. I'll update again when I've made some progress, but for now, things are looking up.